This is some good brawling from the Shanghai Dragons. They like being aggressive. San Francisco, man, they are crushing this attack round now. Babyface is taking little chunks out of everybody. It's going to be too much pressure from the Shock. Oh, Undead's picked Arc out of the sky there. Call pest control, because that guy is a sharpshooter.
The NYXL just won out over the Houston Outlaws 4-0. And I was just telling the Blizzard Arena here that I feel like this is just another Overwatch game where the score is not necessarily reflective of the gameplay, because I felt Houston actually played well. NYXL, they were just too strong. All right, so for our last match of the night, for the week, we have the San Francisco Shock going up against the Shanghai Dragons. A lot of fans here. Now the Shanghai Dragons, they're hungry for the W. They smell the blood. You know, they're flying in the sky, looking down at their prey, the limping San Francisco Shock, who in the meantime is looking up at them like, come on, son, we ready, we ready. You guys ready for the last match of the night? All right, with that, let's go ahead, send it over to the desk with Puckett.
I like that. Baby Bay setting up to snipe the Dragons out of the sky, or will it be the Dragons reigning supreme? Welcome back, everybody. I'm Puckett. We've got the full European desk. Are you still European Sideshow?
Yeah, I think technically till like 2019 or something.
I like that. Okay.
I think that'll work.
We'll put you in this group here. We thought today was going to be really tight matches. This could actually be the closest series of the day. Shanghai versus the Shock. Both teams in the bottom half of our Overwatch League trying to climb towards the top. When you look at these squads, what has you excited about their opportunity today?
Well, the fact that they're so hungry for the win. They've been starved of wins, if you want to put it like that. And which means that they're prepping so hard for the games that they can have their best chance of being able to take it. And both of these two teams will be looking at their opponent and thinking that they are very great opponents to be able to finally claim a win there.
Both squads have added some firepower. Those players aren't here yet, though, so they'll be playing with their original starters, and it's time to bring out our first squad. So, ladies and gentlemen of the Blizzard Arena, please put your hands together and welcome to the stage. It's the Shanghai Dragons. You gotta love these guys. So many people in the crowd supporting them. They still don't have their win yet in the Overwatch League. Today could be the day against the San Francisco Shock.
Talking from a pro player perspective, of course. Their former pro perspective, of course. I mean, this is a hard task for the Shanghai Dragons so far, but everyone is cheering on them on. I mean, just looking at the community, everyone on the internet is cheering for the Shanghai Dragons. Listening to the crowd, everyone is cheering for the Shanghai Dragons as well. So this might be the ones they grab the win.
And you can just see how much pain it is every single time they lost. What is going to be that joy if they're able to pull off the victory today? Josh, looking at the numbers, this is almost a must-win scenario.
It really is, because the strength of schedule only gets much more difficult for the Dragons going onwards. Unless they get the victory today, they could be staring down the barrel of a winless first half of the season. And then it doesn't even matter what their reinforcements do. How do you get back into playoffs there? This is where they have to turn it around.
Yeah, but with those reinforcements, you might be looking at the long haul here. The ETA on the new players is, by the way, the second half of stage 1. So as soon as their schedule gets even harder, they will have the reinforcements to deal with it.
All right, we'll take a look at the Dragons today. Keep your eyes on D. They are facing off against a very tough DPS duo, though, in the San Francisco Shock. Smiles coming through from Dak. The boys from the Bay feeling confident in this matchup. Sleepy is going to take the stage first. And this squad, we had some high expectations after watching them at the early stages of stage 1. Since then, it seems they're still struggling to find their groove. Today, will they be able to pop off?
Yes, well, San Francisco Shock are up and they're down. Mostly down, but they have had some upsets. They managed to beat the Boston Uprising in a 3-2 game early on in the season. Since then, they've been claiming wins over Mayhem and got the win. It is.
Speed down.
Got the win over Shanghai Dragons last time they faced as well. This is a team that's capable of high highs, but you never quite know which Shock you're going to get.
What did you think about the Shock's performance earlier this week when they played the Valiant?
Well, they did actually perform pretty good versus the Valiant. We've seen Dante and Sleepy, even versus Seoul Dynasty, of course, pop off. So, given the recent increase of performance, of course, going up against the Shanghai Dragons, this really shouldn't be as much of a challenge, I feel like.
Yeah, Naomi, which you just saw on screen, actually talked about their game in a post-game press conference to their VP of content, Corey, and he did say that he just felt that there was a disconnect in communication, or rather in gameplay, between their tanks and their backlines, and that's something they try to figure out for this game together.
Comm's so important. We've seen that all week long. Who is going to have the better communication today? It's a big question because it's all about the team play, some very talented individuals. Let's talk about this matchup. Let's look at our two teams. Who do you compare first? When you look at these squads, who's going to have the biggest impact?
Well, actually, I want to point out 5king on the side of Shanghai Dragons, because in the past, we've talked about the supports of the Shanghai Dragons not necessarily performing up to par with the rest. But looking at the stats from 5king on the Lucio so far in Stage 2, I mean, you see the league rank averages here. This is out of 15 Lucio players thus far, and there's some good numbers there on that page. So the supports of the Shanghai Dragons, they have stepped it up thus far in Stage 2. And so moving forward, I feel like they're just getting better.
Yes, his tanks do take a lot of damage, so that's why he's potentially getting a lot more healing done. But the deaths is surprising to me, because you would expect for a team that hasn't picked up any wins this season for their supports to just be getting blown apart. But they're actually not dying as much, so that's a positive that they can work on, I think.
All right, keep your eyes on the support. We saw how impactful they could be for that New York squad that just walked away with the win after some great play from Arc. Let's talk about the Dragons here. We know what we're getting out of 5king on the Lucio. What's the game plan for dealing with the DPS duo for the Shock, though?
Well, unfortunately, they were a little bit tight-lipped about the whole thing. I did ask for the game plan coming into this week on a Monday, I believe, and the Shanghai Dragons were like, well, we're not going to tell you, but they did say that the DPS is what they will be focusing on. They do acknowledge that the DPS from the San Francisco Shock are incredibly strong, and this is something they made adjustments to deal with this. So let's see how that goes.
Johnny, you mentioned that in the matchup against the Valiant, the Shock looked pretty good. At times, it was really close in this series. If they're going to walk away with a clean victory, if they're going to catch up on the map count, how does the Shock get a 4-0? Who steps up?
Well, Baby Bay is a solid performer, right? But I'm going to point out Dante again, because I feel like his Tracer play has really been so much better throughout Stage 2. In Stage 1, Dante was pretty silent. He didn't perform as good. But in Stage 2 thus far, I mean, this is versus the Seoul Dynasty, one of the best teams in the league. And Dante, he just popped off and just racked up the kills. So I think that Dante, they're able to rely on him much more moving forward.
Let's get the official prediction starting closest to me. Sideshow, you're up first. Who walks away with the W today, the first in Stage 2?
I think I'm going to have to go with the San Francisco Shock here. The Dragons have seen improvements, but San Francisco Shock are a level above, I think, at the moment.
Shock fans in the venue cheering you on. What about you, Johnny?
You know, I'm going to have to go with the San Francisco Shock as well. I'm sorry I can't go with the Shanghai Dragons. I'm going with the Bay Area, of course. So I'm going with Dante.
2 orange. Are we going to get a red, Zoe?
Well, you know, my strat today has been I'm going to root for who I want to win, not who I really think is going to win. So I go with Shanghai Dragons. Let's make it an 0-3 for my predictions. I don't care. I want them to get that win.
I want you to finish 1 and 2. I'm with the Dragons as well today, but always keep your eyes on the Shock. So much potential from this squad. The players are ready. The game is ready. Let's send it to our casters. We got Mr. X with Uber.
Thank you very much. Yeah, sorry, we crossed past Monty and Doors. They came out and they also challenged us because we hadn't had a chance to do it today. I actually like lemons, so I mean, we have Vegemite in Australia, so I mean, this is
they'll
not
eat
really
just about anything.
It's not really a big deal, but we're gonna chew on these. I'm gonna enjoy these in the interim. But Matt, of course, you've already had most of yours. Let's discuss this match a little bit, or perhaps you do it while I eat my lemon.
Yeah, that's fine. I know Shanghai trying to get their first win of the season. The Shock did look better in their match earlier this week. We'll see if Shanghai, though, can come up with a big win. See the maps that we played in this series, man. You are just going at that lemon right now. As I do agree with Sideshow. I think this is the Shanghai Dragons' best opportunity to get a win, you know, in the next few games. Right, they have some very tough opponents coming up. I believe they have like Seoul Dynasty, NYXL coming up later in this stage, where this one would be the one to get. You know, still waiting for their players to come in. I know it'll be very good to see their new additions come on through. You know, you also have Super and Sinatra eventually coming into play for the SF Shock. So, you know, it's two teams that aren't really exactly at full strength yet. You expect these teams to get much better as we get into Stage 3 and Stage 4 of the Overwatch League. And looks like you'll have the San Francisco Shock on defense here first to kick things off on Hanamura. I believe you are finally done with that lemon.
I like me a lemon or two. Actually, it's good for my throat as well. Clear it up. Because, like you pointed out, there's an opportunity here for the Shanghai Dragons, Matt. It might seem slim. Obviously, being 0-13 at this stage of the league is not where they'd want to be. And as was said, reinforcements a little ways off. I believe it was second half of stage 2 was meant that it's not stage 1, which is obviously already passed. So our focus here for the Shanghai Dragons is definitely going to be around a bit of that tank play. It's been discussed. We saw those stats earlier, 5 King stats. Right? They're not terrible. They're pretty solidly on average, right, for the most part. So what we are looking for, I guess, is that coordination from these teams.
And I want to see them play more with Roshan. I feel like Roshan, he definitely tries to take advantage of some situations, and then the rest of the team isn't there for follow-up, as Sleepy is giving us a little bit of a show there on Moira. So it'll be a triple tank for the San Francisco Shock on defense. They'll have Dante play Tracer, so you're gonna have Baby play the Roadhog, and Sleepy should be able to farm up a ton of ult. Undead will play Widowmaker. You'll have Dia play Tracer here. I would love to see them play more with Roshan, like I mentioned. When Roshan goes in, you need to see MG, you need to see Dia there to help them out. They can't just sit around and play off of Undead.
That's the first hook, at least, to open things up here. No kill as a result of it. But Shanghai are being kept honest. Nomi trying to jump across the gap, though, and Undead's picked him off in midair. Again, this team orbits so much around Undead and his potential to do these kills, or do these damage, to get these kills. That's probably what I'm looking for. So he's now already moved in. The San Francisco definitely on the back foot here. Dante with his back to Undead, who hasn't found any big kills, and Dante now starting to pay more attention to this man on screen.
And they just need to force the fight on the point here. Undead just trying to land shots, not able to hit with anything right now. Landing shot to the bubble of Nomi, but at this point, the San Francisco Shock have everybody back.
Undead's been pocketed here at least, so he's not going to go down at Nemix. He'll be able to force him back and maintain this pole position. Another challenger appears, and this time, yeah, Nomi had the formula to remove him from that position.
But you pocketed Undead for so long, and you see 5 King was actually going for the res onto Undead. It's like, where is the help for the rest of the team? Dia and Roshan are trying to fight everybody in that bottom right. You would have loved to have some healing in there from those guys. As now it'll be the San Francisco Shock holding on defense. No progress made towards point A. You do have some ultimates here. You have Sleepy with his Coalescence. You have 5 King with Valkyrie.
Baby here, just a couple of shots with the scrap gun. I've used the term war of attrition before, and again, getting that early damage can really make a big difference here. It's a big stick there. It's going to be ultimately taken down. It was actually attached to MG, but he backed up into his Zenyatta. MG getting desuited as well, which doesn't help things for the Dragons. Very chaotic approach. Shanghai had a good start. They're getting these picks off Undead map, but they're not capitalizing.
Yeah, they've used the res already onto altering, so you can't bring your Diva back into the mix as Dia goes onto the point. San Francisco just pushes on through. They're not afraid of the Shanghai Dragons. Undead will play McCree here, so this is a very interesting pick. McCree is a very slow DPS hero. He's going to have to make his way through the choke.
It's just a super mobile.
And you don't have a speed boost from Lucio because you're playing the Mercy. It's a really easy target for Baby with these hooks.
Snail's pace play from the Shanghai Dragons, and Baby would love or pray to capitalize on that. Whole Hog's available for him. You can see it's a bit of a fold inside this side room, and Baby's ready to let go. It's the Whole Hog. 5 King now trying to keep his team healed. Forced to back away. Defense Matrix will consume some of this damage, but Baby held them at bay for the time being. Now the Bay Area boys need to rotate back towards the point. There was a tick taken in the process. Should be able to wrap on this one. You can see even though Shanghai were capping the point, Matt, they were so split.
Yeah, Dia was on the point.
Oh, there it is.
A little bit more than 1 tick worth of progress, but it was Nomi just getting into the back line and just forcing away Undead, altering, and 5 King. They were not able to dive in there and help Roshan or Dia.
Do you think this McCree choice is a good decision? Do you think there's a better alternative here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you had, a Genji player, you could, play him on Genji here.
Like Pharah, maybe?
Maybe Pharah, or even like a 76, right? Just that consistent damage, and then just a sprint to be able to make it on through the choke.
I mean, it's so curious that they keep the Mercy here despite switching off the Widowmaker. Perhaps it's the fact that they do have the Valkyrie. Deadeye from Undead. Oh, he gets blown up! He waits too long, and Altering just sorts his over the position of his teammate. Gets taken with him. It's all about Dante now. 3 kills and a desuit for him. Cold as ice. Yeah, 20 seconds left.
There are so many avenues of attack for the San Francisco Shock when that Deadeye starts to come in, right? I mean, you don't have a ton of view through that door. You can come from the top right. You can just do what Dante did, just blink right on in. It'll be Shanghai with 9 seconds left. to get to the point here is Roshan and Dia going through the
way!
not good, looking good.
Baby Bay and Dante combined to pick up altering, so the Zenyatta's now missing. He could have had his transcendence for the last fight, but now he'll be walking back very slow, forlorn, and maudlin as he tries to reapproach. Dak finds Roshan here, but Undead actually picks off Baby Bay. There may be an opportunity there, but we're halfway through overtime, and MG is being buffered away from the point. He gets there, keeps it going for now, but look at Undead. So low on HP. There is a Mercy in effect here for the Shanghai Dragons. Five King is there, but Dante is another sick pulse bomb, and they're all over this one. The Dragons just could not come up with the solution. Man, it seemed like their best opportunity was that first attack where they got an early pick.
And Dante was sick for the San Francisco Shock in the first half. 17 eliminations, 10 final blows, 0 deaths. We can take a look. This is the pulse bomb coming right on top.
I mean, everything's been thrown at Undead there as well. The Coalescence even giving him a bit of a tickle, trying to trim that beard a bit down.
But even right there towards the end, right? They use their Valkyrie, and Dia and Roshan push in onto the point, and they use that entire Valkyrie to just kind of pocket Undead at the front gate. They don't really use it to try and get on by, heal those guys on the point, allow some other members to walk in. It's just I would love to see them just play really aggressive, right? I think Roshan's making some decent reads when he sees people weak. He's diving on in. Dia has been doing a nice job getting behind in the lines.
You had a Widow that was being pocketed, right? So you switch to the McCree. You keep the Mercy.
Yeah.
But it's like, why don't we could use a Pharaoh with this. Pharaoh Mercy still had some...
But then we've seen teams struggle with getting slower characters through the choke. And now you've selected 3 of them, right? So I mean, your Zen, your Mercy,
Lucio to speed them up
Lucio,
and alleviate that,
and your McCree, you're stuck on the outside. So you're always fighting. And then if you leave your Diva back, you're sending Roshan and Dia in there to just die pretty much. So it's really just the compositions for Shanghai need to get a lot cleaner. Like, I like this a lot on defense, right? You have 5 King play Ana, you have Undead play 76, and Altering will play Zen here. So they're going to be able to set up in the back. You can have Dia play that Tracer, just dart around the map. I really like the setup now for the Shanghai Dragons.
What do you think about the... obviously, we do see this sometimes on this first point, like no Lucio being taken in, but you're a little bit more vulnerable to Tracer or Genji. Like, those flankers as these 2 supports. I mean, your self-peel comes in the form of trying to kill them, or Fight King getting a sleep dart if you're the Zen and Ana combo.
And you're also going to see Undead just play right around these supports. He's not going to go too far, so where a flanker could just come in and pick off like an Ana or a Zen, you're going to have a lot of support in the terms of Undead right there.
We're on the approach now with San Francisco. You can see the Baby Bay's piloting the Widowmaker here, so a similar approach that the Shanghai Dragons took on their first couple of attempts before switching off it. Baby Bay, though, confidence never been an issue for this man. You definitely need the right mindset, Matt, to play aggressive as this Widow.
Yeah, and you see the stats there for Dante versus Dia. I don't think you can kind of pin that all on Dia. He's just trying to play his game, getting aggressive, but nobody there with him. It's going to be 2 kills here for the San Francisco Shock.
Could be over.
3. This is not looking good for Shanghai early.
Altering and Undead already cut to ribbons, and there's only a couple of players. A token resistance from the Shanghai Dragons on this point. MG's been removed. Dia can't do much. The Shanghai Dragons getting absolutely clobbered. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm afraid to say it, the Shanghai Dragons yet to stoke the flames. And it wasn't close. It was not a close map at all there, Matt. San Francisco, confident on that defense, able to sort of roll with the play and sort of go with the flow the Dragons tried to bring. And then, obviously, we saw the Dragons with their attacking attempt, Matt, just didn't have much potency.
Yeah, I mean, they're on the attack. Baby Bay, he finishes with a 61% scope accuracy, 36% crit accuracy. So when your Widow's hitting shots like that, you're just going to be able to wander on through the choke with relative ease. That's how you see the San Francisco Shock take map number 1.
And the Shock here, definitely not going to be looking to drop this one away. Start strong, they're looking to finish in much the same way. The Dragons, much to work on, much to be done. We'll see if they got what it takes after the break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network.
Giving them the lifeline that we're looking for.
In Stage 1's Week 2 face-off between Boston and San Francisco, the Uprising were moments from sealing a victory over the Shock.
It's an overtime, it's a 99 map. This is San Francisco trying to stay alive.
But Nevik stepped up. With only 3 members of the Uprising on point, Nevik zoned them out with a self-destruct. Next, the Uprising's Diva isolated Kalios and took him out. Then, right when Kelix's Lucio got his sound barrier, Nevix eliminated him before he could use the ult. And followed that up by removing Dreamcasper. The Shock flipped the point and won the next round to take the match.
San Francisco's Shock, you better believe they've done it!
That right there was the turning point where Nevix and the San Francisco Shock turned a sour moment into something sweet. Presented by Sour Patch Kids Candy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. That was actually quite the fun game. We had the pleasure of calling that one in that previous stage. A match that, you know, we saw how strong Boston were looking, but San Francisco managed to pip them to the post. Somehow, though, I have a feeling that San Francisco won't have nearly as much problems with this next few maps. I reckon they're looking much better in this series today.
Well, look, I think San Francisco is an interesting team. They're like a team of up and down, right? Where, you know, sometimes they play...
Sour and sweet.
Yeah, you know, sometimes they're playing at like an insanely, you know, high level and you're extremely impressed, and sometimes they just come out really flat in these games. Today, it seems like they come into this game extremely confident. So Free Feel will come in for the Shanghai Dragons. On this next map, he will come in for 5 King. So 5 King, your Lucio specialist, so to speak, will go out for this map.
Watching that previous map and seeing how Shanghai were trying to set up on their attacking side, I think it became quite clear to us, Matt, just how much emphasis is put on Undead on the Shanghai Dragons roster in terms of how much resources are being dedicated to this individual to try and get him to really pick up these frags.
Yeah, I mean, they dedicated so many ultimates to just try and keep him alive at the front, you know, playing that McCree or whether it was Widowmaker, and he's just not able to pick up those kills. I would like to see them just play a little bit more of a team-oriented game, because, you know, Roshan and Dia. Dia's getting people weak, Roshan's diving in, but, you know, those players are getting weak, have the luxury of their supports being right there. There's no support for those guys. There's not that other secondary DPS player going in as well. Or even if you're not going to play the Widow or if you're not going to play Widowmaker and you don't really have a Genji on your team, you most likely just go to 76 there.
And again, you know, when we look at how DPS duos work together, I feel like London are a great example of a team that makes this work. The 1-2 punch. In maps where we do have McCree and Tracer, like we saw just now from Shanghai, McCree gets that early damage, Tracer knocks it down. It's it's a sort of hammer and anvil, but we kind of just see Undead sort of peeking, getting a couple picks, and then it's all sort of damages being healed up over time. Dia's not in position to capitalize of it. So we're looking here for the Shanghai Dragons to find a bit more of that cohesion, to work a little bit more, interweave the damage at the very least with one another.
All that damage is just getting healed right back up. You're giving the other team support ults. It's not resulting in great play here. So it'll be San Francisco Shock. They'll have Dante play Pharah, Baby Bay will play 76. So you usually see Baby Bay play the Pharah, but because 76 is pretty good in this meta, at least what we've seen thus far, you'll have Baby Bay play that 76.
He's so solid here as well. Incredibly strong. So Dante on that Pharah. Again, a couple of warning shots towards that right-hand side just to make sure that Shanghai can't sneak a Tracer in up behind them, just like this. It's kind of what they're trying to avoid. Dia realizes he has to back out pretty quickly after his initial foray.
Some rockets being pelted down here by Dante. It will be the shot getting the point. Roshan trying to make his way on.
Working.
No, Dia trying to focus from behind. That's going to be Roshan falling on the point. So Roshan is actually on the point alone, trying to contest it for Shanghai. And MG looks like backed out a little bit, and then they just kind of left. Once they realize Roshan's alone as Orisa on the point, they just jump him right away.
This is a really interesting setup here for the San Francisco Shock. Baby Bay controls the left side of the room, and we usually see Dante on the right side. So they're kind of holding these two back corners, and then they're letting their tanks fight on the point. So Nomi and Nevix are there, and they're trying to combine the DPS in a crossfire.
Yeah, now we have Shanghai switching off the 76 right away to go to McCree, which is definitely odd because, McCree, obviously, we could mention on Hanamura, a little bit of a slower hero, not as much mobility. There's a lot of things that could pull that McCree off the side, and then, he's not going to be able to dodge those far rockets as easy. It'll be Baby Bay picking up attack by
the timing. It's so perfect, Matt. The Diva just gets deseated, and Baby Bay can go nuts here with a tactical visor. Unfortunately for him, not many of the Dragons were peeking by that point, but that was well put together.
They're able to hold on to the point for now. It's going to be 56% in ticking for the San Francisco Shock. As Sleepy, they push him into the choke. He's able to pick up some kills. Baby Bay putting down some more damage, trying to build up towards another attack visor here. They will have both support ults.
Oh, that's
Dia, though, with a big pulse bomb, taking out both supports. That's huge. Shanghai needs to go now.
I was just about to ask you, Matt, how is Shanghai going to get back in after the door's been shut in their face? And I guess I had my question answered for me. Undead's now able to capitalize on the extra space that's been brought and take down Dante. They pressure forward now. Nomi looking worse for wear. San Francisco definitely have to give the point up after that.
You will see Shanghai get control here. They do have a Transcendence to use. See if they get a little bit aggressive off of this. They have Nomi in a very difficult spot. He's getting healed up by Dak, but they should be able to. Okay, so Dak ends up dying during that engagement. Now, Nomi just trying to stay alive here. It's going to be a pulse bomb. Dia lands onto Baby Bay, so Nomi's going to try and back up as far as he can. He does take out Dia. Not ideal, because now you're going to have to wait for Dia to come up the spawn. So this is where he picked up both supports.
Dia there knows he had to find something, and he gets that stick. And obviously, that whole passage of play, that whole 45 seconds of staggered kills was as a result of Dia getting that pulse bomb. Good way to open things up. Undead, what a beautiful angle. Dante had no idea where that be coming from. The faint red glow of the McCree channeling Deadeye obviously was a little bit too obscure for him to spot out. It's a 1-for-1 trade in this fight, with MG having fallen to sleep. Now the Transcendence has been committed to the fight, but Roshan doesn't really seem to mind. He's been able to get Nevix desuited, and MG's brought back, so the Diva advantage rests with the Shanghai Dragons. And a flash sets up a nice kill there for Undead to remove Baby Bay in short shrift, and that'll be another one.
Now they're starting to get rolling. That's a big Deadeye from Undead. Both support ults used there for the San Francisco Shock. Roshan does a nice job with Primal Rage, though, able to put down enough damage to stand on through that. Nevix will have a self-destruct. Baby Bay will switch to McCree now, so you're going to get Dak with being able to pocket him, a lot like how you're seeing on the other side with altering to Undead. They'll put down some extra damage on the McCree, and Dante will play the Tracer here.
Look how quickly Roshan jumped back when he saw Baby Bay emerge on that McCree. The flashbang can cause problems now. For Roshan, he needs to be a little bit more careful the way he jumps in. Baby Bay, you see, he does get the flash there, but Baby Bay's quite low. Quick burst healing, they're still trying to focus down this McCree, but he's got himself an Orb of Harmony. Very difficult to remove him from the fight, so instead, the Shanghai Dragons look for other targets. Nomi and Dak, namely, were the ones that were focused after the fact. Now, Dia just needs to dodge around a little bit. The recall was used. Could have put him in danger, but he had a dash charge left to get on inside, and they've got it! The Shanghai Dragons take the first stage here on Nepal.
Nevix had to go to the point to contest. Undead with a Deadeye there, able to zone some players off. Shanghai will take our first round on Nepal. Can they do it again? No, a map win here would be huge. They have been in fairness, when they haven't been performing great, it seems like, you know, towards the end of stage 1, they really started to pick it up.
Sure.
And then things didn't really seem great here at the beginning of stage 2. You know, maybe they're on that upward ascent, you know, towards the end of, towards the middle of this stage like they did in the previous one. They have been pretty competitive on control maps, so we have seen them, they'll put up a good fight. When it just comes down to these raw, just engagements, really mechanical games.
And it's almost like that double kill pulse bomb from Dia was what catalyzed that entire round for the Shanghai Dragons. The Shock couldn't get themselves back in control. It seems as if they were just completely staggered and kind of reeling for the entire round. But now as we head back in, Babybay switched back to that 76, and he realizes he's going to be dealing with the McCree again, but Sleepy deals with it for his compatriot.
And a point like this, I feel like you need Lucio more than any other, because look, the Shock have that Lucio speed boost. They get right up to the point where Shanghai gets caught in that awkward area by the statues in the middle of, you know, going up the stairs to the point or going back by your initial choke. They get caught in that awkward position, you know, out in the open. They just get picked apart.
Altering went to try and resurrect Undead, but the San Francisco Shock had the speed boost and they just steamrolled over the top of him. Again, that focus on keeping Undead in the game, in this case, was Altering's undoing.
So let's see how Shanghai decides to attack this, because you don't have that Lucio speed boost like we mentioned to get on in, give some support to Roshan and Dia. Really playing around this Mercy. They get Dante though, that's big. Roshan, see, in those type of situations, he's smart. He's able to take advantage of Dante being a little bit out of the way. They're able to get those first picks.
Sleepy's sitting back here as well. He's got the Discord Orb stuck to Undead, and he's not moving it for the time being. Babybay gets bowled over by Dia, though. Sleepy's position's about to get assailed. Yeah, he's going to fall. Drop down as MG there, really starting to do the cleanup quite nicely. Nomi's still present. MG desuited, but is able to get back in after just some furious flurries from the Bunny Blaster. And the Dragons still have control for the time being, coming back into the next fight with both of their DPS ults and a Valkyrie.
Yeah, look, I mean, Roshan right now is 12 limbs, 2 deaths, and they have Dia 16 limbs, 8 final blows, 2 deaths. Like, those two guys are playing very well. They just need that help with the follow-up. They need MG and Undead to come alive, which they are on this map. It'll be a sound barrier to start things off here for the San Francisco Shock. It's actually Undead using his Deadeye, so they're not able to run through the choke.
Nomi knew what was happening, so he backs away, probably tries to grab himself that mega health pack and get back into the fight. It was Roshan, should I say, correction. Backs right away from the fight, does benefit from that healing, and of course Altering having used that Valkyrie gives a heck of a lot of burst heals to his team there. Babybay being scrutinized, at least for the moment there. That was Roshan on him, backing away again, just trying to stay safe, using that mobility as much as possible, and letting his tanks do most of the dirty work. Nevix, huge from him, 4 kills in the fight for the D.Va player. You love to see it. And the Pulse Bomb fighting Nomi really doesn't do too much here for Dia, with the rest of his team completely smashed.
Yeah, you may as well have saved on to that Pulse Bomb. I think it was like a 1v4 there for Dia on the point. You know, maybe in that next fight you come back, you get a Pulse Bomb onto Nevix, you get a DMAC, and then you're able to move from there.
That would be a great way to start the fight, right?
Yeah, they end up using the Pulse Bomb towards the end. Nevix now with a self-destruct. Looks like to be the only ultimate on the board. Undead will get a Deadeye here coming up soon, but not really a great opportunity to use as you walk on in. It's pretty good on the defensive. No way, the way they used it previously, you know, as an offensive ultimate, it's kind of weak here. As see how Shanghai decides to attack this point. They'll be Undead using that Deadeye from a distance.
It's a great way for the Shanghai Dragons.
Off the point. Yep.
Yeah, they can close the gap with that Deadeye pressure now, knowing that the San Francisco Shock can't really peek out. But this is how the fight goes, not the way they would have expected to. The tactical visor is employed, despite the fact that MG was present in the fight. His mech gets destroyed. He wasn't able to save his teammates from Babybay. There was also a lovely self-destruct dealt by Nevix there. And there's Sleepy just holding the last of his cards. It was a Joker, of course. MG's down. 90% on the clock for the Shock.
Shanghai will switch Undead off of McCree, go over to 76 and Freefield dies at the beginning. You should be able to res this up. Dante's actually back there, putting a lot of pressure on Undead. They're going to use Valkyrie to get to the point. Roshan and Dia do get a touch.
Look at that speed boost from Dak there, just allowing the Shock to disengage for a moment and avoid the dive in from Roshan. He couldn't get onto his target initially, but Nomi's down. Sleepy trying to be patient here, staying safe. Notices that Dante's a little low and the sound barrier now is being put into this fight. Dia also looking pretty ragged right now. Jumping back in, but that's the Transcendence here being used by the San Francisco. No, sorry, it was the Shanghai Dragons. Excuse me. Freefield gets that one off. Babybay to back away. Doesn't have a tactical visor available, and with that Transcendence on the point, the Dragons keep themselves alive, still have a chance to take this map away.
They did end up using both support ults. Dak will switch over to Mercy here, maybe build up a support ult rather quickly, right? You know, trying to get some ultimate. Well, Nomi pops Primal Rage, you're able to heal through a lot of that and get that Mercy ultimate pretty quick, but you have to go fast because you may not get a second fight. Baby Bay will get attack visor here, and he's gonna pop it right away. Roshan jumps in, has Primal Rage to use.
That's it, they're just trying to fill up Baby Bay's field of view. He's over the edge, gets him off with the Primal Rage. Frustrating for Baby Bay. There was nothing you could have done there. Really hard to work around the Winston. Nomi's brought back into the fray, though. Dak switching over towards the Mercy here, deciding having that second bite at the apple might be what the Shock need to stay around in these fights. Now that Sleepy's transcended, there's Nomi going in for that Primal Rage kill. Dia's kind of looking like he's out at sea right now. He's at least grouped up with Undead close by, and Altering is there with the Valkyrie. Healing available for the Dragons, but they're running out of numbers. They're running out of players. Dia doesn't have the Pulse Bomb. He could break this one open in a big play, but it's no chance to do it. And that's about it. As the smoke clears, there's no one left from the Dragons on the point.
They have to use that Valkyrie there, but as soon as he pops Valk, you know, maybe you're like, okay, can he get a resurrection onto Roshan? Died in a rough spot on the point. Roshan actually spawns up there just like a few seconds later, so you're not able to get a res off onto Roshan. You had MG not in his mech anymore on D.Va, so you didn't have any big bodies on the point to withstand on through. So we will go to a final point here on Nepal. So, you know, I wonder, you know, I really liked what we saw from Undead on 76. I think, you know, if you're not going to play Widowmaker or try something else, you know, whether you don't play Genji, like I mentioned, I would love to see them fall back on 76. I feel like it just provides a lot in terms of consistent damage, especially if you're only going to send Roshan and Dia in there.
Cheeky Mercy switch for Dak at the end of the round as well. It actually allowed him to resurrect Nomi. Get that big body back in the game. A lot of value in that resurrect. And now we're going to move to Village here. The final stage in Nepal, our second map of the series. Early on, Dia copped a lot of damage and forced to recall early out, but MG saw his opening. He takes it, charged in, got Sleepy with the boot damage. Although MG's going to be desuited, the same can be said for Nevix. So far this fight's been pretty back and forth, but now Baby Bay's starting to feel it. Now that that D.Va suit is missing and MG's not in the fight, that hit scan pressure can really be exercised.
See if, though, if they can make their way to the point. Dante will get a touch, they'll get Nomi back, and they're going to start the assault. They push all the way on through. The kill's going in favor of the San Francisco Shock. It's just going to be Dia. Yep, just wanted to go back to the spawn, wait for the rest of his teammates to make another attempt to push on through. Baby Bay will have attack visor here very shortly. Dante will have that pulse bomb. Let's see where they decide to set up. Right now, it looks like they're setting up on this, you know, middle bridge area. Just watching for that right side high ground. Maybe Shanghai tries to force their way through there. Then there it is. Can have a nice boot there from Dak.
That's it. That was the serve coming out from Dak, sending Roshan back where he came from. So frustrating again for the Winston when they can't really land where they want to. And look at him now. He's out of position with very little health. The dive essentially being shut down from the Shanghai Dragons. And this is where the cleanup starts happening. They're kind of mired, stuck in the mud, as it were, the Dragons, as they try and approach the point. And a huge man disadvantage. And Sleepy consistently getting himself in the kill feed during this game. Really been fragging out. Had to force his transcendence there. There's some value to be gained from it for the Shock, but they don't seem too worried to have that ult forced.
Yeah, it's just not a coordinated push there from the Shanghai Dragons. You had Roshan on the supports up top. Both DPS players drop down to the ground. Undead drops, then Dia drops, then Roshan and the supports drop down. Then they pop Primal Rage. At that point, he's popping Primal, going all the way in, and left the supports pretty much to die. So see if Shanghai can put together a good coordinated fight here. We have seen when they do get those fights, you know, going their way, and they're starting to really, you know, synergize this teamwork. They've looked good. It's going to be a sound barrier from both teams opening up. They do get Baby Bay, though.
Good opening there, losing the 76 before he could benefit from that overshield. And yeah, this looks like it'll be a good fight for the Shanghai Dragons, man. Both their ultimates really connecting nicely. That Sleepy fall into a pulse bomb. Dante not long for this world himself.
Yeah, it is a good fight for Shanghai. They do end up using their Transcendence there when there's only 3 members alive.
That's so
the
big
San
for the
Francisco Shock. That is pretty big for the Shock because they ended up, you know, not with either of the support ults. It'll be MG. Probably just trying to get back.
There's no reason to do that because he can give his healer's ultimate percentage.
Yeah.
Like, they just used that Transcendence, so there's no...
They're going to heal that back.
Okay,
up.
let's carry on. Free fill up on the high ground. Now the tactical visor being used by Baby Bay here, so it's going to keep everyone on the Dragon's side heads down. MG kind of has to sacrifice his mech to that one, and he will be falling. Altering, though, gets connected long range. That was a Helix rocket, if I've ever seen one. And the Shock just swoop back in and take what's theirs. 10% away from taking map 2.
You see why Baby Bay is one of the best Soldier 76s in the league. I mean, it's a nice tac visor, but then the tracking there at the end to pick up some kills. It's going to be very hard. It's going to have to be a touch here from Dia. Sends it in overtime. He actually picks up Dante as well.
Okay, so get them in a 6v5 scenario, but look at this. Most of the Dragons are being kept off the point. They're being zoned out. Nevix is taking a lot of damage in order to do this and is, as a result, desuited. Now he's only a mini Diva trying to fight with the Bunny Blaster on the point, and Roshan would love to have some of that for dinner. Dia actually dealt the final blow to the Bunny Blaster Diva, and that's Roshan for a finish. A little bit of a slip up there for the San Francisco Shock, and it'll cost them. Losing Dante right at the start of that fight.
It's such a big play from Dia. You know, you're at that point, you're just trying to get him onto the point to get a touch to force it into overtime. What does he do? He gets to the point and takes out the enemy Tracer in like a split second. So huge play there from Dia, keeping Shanghai in this map.
Wow, that was a really early recall forced by Dante. I guess because he didn't know where Dia was and he didn't want to take the risk. Dia, in the meantime, just kills Nomi. Now Dia's starting to wake up. That Tracer's starting to really have an impact on this map. Dante just trying to piece out, play it safe. Now he's forced Dia's recall. That's so important. Dia has dash charges, so he gets him. No, the hell pack was taken before. Dante took it before Dia had a chance to go and get it, and that's allowed him to get the 1v1 victory. Dia, he made the incorrect assumption, and it cost him.
They will have a Valkyrie here, though, Shanghai. If they can stay alive for a few seconds, it'll be Baby Bay using the tac visor. It'll be altering, using the Valkyrie, getting up in the sky. This Baby Bay looking to cut through members of the Shanghai Dragons, altering solo, needs to get away, which means he can't provide anybody with healing as his teammates drop.
Oh no, that's a good metaphor for how this one's gone for the Dragons. Close but no cigar. Altering tries to go for a resurrect, but's cut down by Nevix in doing so, and that'll be map 2. Signs of resistance there from the Shanghai Dragons, but Matt, we've been saying that for the last 13 weeks.
And look, Dia puts together a very good performance on this map. 28 limbs, 16 final blows, only 9 deaths. Baby Bay just a little bit better. 38 limbs, 10 final blows, 6 deaths playing the Soldier 76.
It's not been 13 weeks, 6 weeks. My maths is terrible. 2 games a week, but there it is. 2-0 now in map score. San Francisco very close to taking this one away and wrapping it all up and ending the weekend on a high note. We'll see you after the halftime break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Shanghai put up a fight on Nepal, but the Shock were so far able to tame the Dragons. They come into the half with a 2-0 victory lead. Welcome back, everybody. It's Puckett here at the desk. We got Sideshow, we got Reinforce, and this is the last halftime of the day. It's been a great week. So far, this match, a little bit more one-sided than we hoped. We were really high on Shanghai's chances today. We said if they're going to take the opportunity, this is where you're going to get your win at the start of stage 2. They're looking pretty good on Nepal, but in the end, it was Baby Bay and the Shock that walk away with the victory. I'd love to start there real quick. Just high level, what's the difference between the teams so far, Reinforce?
Well, it comes down to actually the way you position yourself. I think that the San Francisco Shock has a way better grasp on when it comes to space and positioning. So that allows Baby Bay to have so much room to actually deal so much damage. On the side of the Shanghai Dragons, of course, Undead has to make the space for himself. We saw him pop off on a McCree, but that's just really when he walks forward himself and gets into the back line.
And when we look at Baby Bay, it all started back on Hanamura. We saw him with the Roadhog for a little bit, the Widowmaker. I feel like, guys, the hit scan's where you got to keep this man, right?
Yeah, for sure. And that makes San Francisco Shock very predictable as well. You know that Baby Bay is going to be running the hit scan, the Soldier 76 or the Widowmaker. And most teams will play into that by trying to get in your face. Like Johnny was talking about space. You want to try and deny space by playing a Genji Tracer or something like this and being very aggressive and closing up all of that room. But unfortunately, Shanghai Dragons just don't play that. They like the same kind of style. So we're stuck in a system where it's just who can execute the long-range hit scan and a tracer composition the best. At the moment, it's been San Francisco.
I was going to say, the numbers say it's all San Fran, but how close is this matchup in your eyes? How far behind is Shanghai in the first half, at least?
Nepal, they did have some clutch moments. Dia came out with a pulse bomb that caught 2 people, and then they were able to roll that forwards. I think San Francisco Shock still struggle with being able to come back into points occasionally, which makes Control a pretty good matchup stylistically for the Shanghai Dragons, but there were so many mistakes as well. The Transcendence that was popped, and then empty Fat Fingers his ult, and these kind of things roll forwards, and they create snowballs that Shanghai Dragons can't quite dig themselves out of.
It's kind of frustrating to watch because you know they have to be really frustrated. A Fat Finger, unacceptable at the Overwatch League, but it's not the first one we've seen. Shout out to Kusto. Let's keep this one going here, Reinforce. We talked about Baby Bay. What is his counterpart, Dante, doing on that Tracer so far?
Well, he's just going ham thus far. I actually want to give a shout out to Dio, of course, on the Tracer, because he actually shut him down occasionally. But especially on Hanamura, I mean, it was the Dante showed and he just popped off and wasn't really shut down by anyone on the side of Shanghai Dragons. We gave some praise to Jonak before, of course, because on Senyara, he just went nuts. But here it is the opposite, and it's the Tracer dominating the Sen duel.
It just looks so frustrating to be Shanghai, stuck at those gates. You have Dante just poking out, getting a kill and getting out of there. Game 1 goes to the Shock. Nepal, we mentioned, though, was much closer. We're going to take a look back at some of the best moments. This is the closest game so far for Shanghai, and if they're going to win in the second half, you need to keep making these key plays. But Nevix was a name we heard over and over again on Nepal. Here's a look at some of the early stages. What did we see from both squads, and what, I guess, are the positives to take away from this game?
Well, I actually kind of like that Shanghai Dragons were pulling out the Mercy and the McCree, because these are some of the best heroes that Shanghai Dragons have showed in the past, because they just pocket Undead and they let Undead go ham. So I actually didn't like to see them swap away and prefer the Soldier on the rest of the stages, of course, on Nepal. But Undead on McCree, that's something I want to see more of.
Yeah, Soldier is much more positional. You have to be able to get those rotations. If you think back to the Bird Ring Telestrator that Reinforce was doing earlier, it's all about moving around the map. Whereas Undead is more of the point me at something and I will shoot it kind of guy. And he can do that very effectively, but McCree and Widowmaker play more into that. Now, for me, when we go into the second half, we're going to be seeing King's Row. We've seen how effective tank compositions are there. And I feel like if you're playing against San Francisco Shock and they don't play Genji that much, they can't get to your supports as much, maybe that's where they see some success.
King's Row, I mean, we've seen quad tank. Hollywood was looking really strong for the Shanghai Dragons in one of their previous matches. Are we going to see Dia go back to the Zarya? That's something I hope to see. We know if this goes to a Game 5, if Shanghai is somehow able to turn this around in Games 3 and 4, Game 5 is going to be Ilios. And you mentioned Undead, just like Baby Bay, able to do that damage at range. I want to see this Widow War. Will it go the distance? We'll have to find out. That's going to do it for our halftime coverage. When we return, though, a big Game 3. King's Row is coming up next when we return.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
The San Francisco Shocker up 2-0 on the Shanghai Dragons. And that's the San Francisco Shocker fighting to get back into playoff contention. You can be certain they are definitely going for the clean sweep. Will the Shanghai Dragons pull off the reverse sweep? Let's find out and send it back to our casters, Uber and Mr. X.
Malik, I guess you're like down, where are you? Down there.
Hey,
yeah, what's up, fam? Thank you very much. Yes, let's jump back into this one. 2 maps already down. Probably only 2 to go at this stage.
I would say a way to get your first win would be a reverse sweep.
Right.
That would be a pretty epic way.
Sick. Yeah.
I would count it as 2 wins, but
it's, yeah, a 0-13 scoreline might not be the lucky one. Maybe we need to wait until maybe we get that 0-14 or something a little bit different. But
sometimes it's just some fights they look really good, and then the next fight they come in and it's like one support ult user in a bad spot, or just like it's just those little mistakes they still haven't fixed.
And I mean, look, if you guys. We can't pull any punches on this kind of stuff as well. We need to obviously have a look and see what these things happen and call them out if they're incorrect. 5 King is going to come in for free field. There were a couple of questionable ultimates from the Dragons in that earlier round there as well. We saw a self-destruct that didn't make a lot of sense. There was a Transcendence just prior to that. So just a couple things. Tighten up these nuts and bolts.
They're close.
That's
right.
They're
really close.
But we say that every week.
Yeah, but I know. It's just trying to give some faith in
Well, there is hope. There is hope, because these players are good. I'm just saying, it's like, there are sort of 2 levels I like to think the teams sort of compete on in the Overwatch League. There's a fundamental level, and then there's that tactical level. There's that mechanical level. We can put it like that. Right?
Like mechanics and whatnot, they're right there with everybody.
Yes.
Like it's not a mechanical thing. It's just like in-game decision making and tactics where they fall just a little bit right now. But now that's
which is
you'd rather be in that situation than not have the mechanical skill to get by, right?
You just wouldn't be here. You'd be like an analyst, right? You'd be an expert on the expert because you have the knowledge, but the execution's not there. So this is why we see the Dragons always put up a decent show on those control point maps, because those fundamentals, they're pretty much there. You know, a couple errors here and there, that's fine. But for the Shock, they looked pretty comfortable for the most part. I have to say, moments from Dia there as well. Getting that 1v1, win against Dante on the point and taking it back, that's all big. But now as we head to King's Row, this is a map as well where you very much need to think tactically as you approach these fights. It's very easy to get snowballed out.
And the thing on the King's Row as well, you can have a lot of different compositions, whether it's on the offense or the defensive end. So you're going to have to see Shanghai make a lot of adjustments. Dante going back to his building roots there as Torbjorn. That's actually was Sleepy, so Sleepy was playing the door. It's a nice tactic here.
Looks like a big old windwheel. It's like they're playing jump rope, I think.
That's kind of cool. I haven't seen that. They have, well, the Orisa shield on top of the chalkboard, and they're just making it go a million miles an hour. As you see in the pregame, these players are extremely serious as they get ready.
Very different approaches to the pregame for these two rosters. You see the Shocker, quite purposeful and deliberate as they set up here, and they're going to have a defensive Widowmaker, which is a lot of fun. So we're going to actually see a composition from the Shock that's going to force the Dragons to kind of get aggressive and get rid of this Junkrat and this Widow, who are going to be nice and protected.
And what I want to see here is when Undead realizes that they have the Orisa barrier with the Widowmaker up top, it's a very difficult battle to win. You probably are going to have to switch off the Widowmaker. You're not going to have a lot of great sight lines, as it'll be a triple tank composition that comes in from the Shanghai Dragons. So we did cast them in a game on Hollywood where they used a triple tank play composition. I believe it was quad tank at the time, and they were able to roll right on through. They get onto the point now, they're getting very close to taking a tick.
That's so clever. Sleepy put the Discord Orb on MG and then left Baby Bay to deal with him. Baby Bay was able to overcome that, of course, because he had the damage. Lovely. Roshan down. That's good thinking here from the Shock so far. They've actually weathered the storm quite nicely, and they've not given over a tick.
So this is where it hurts when you don't have a Genji player, right? Because you don't want to play the Widowmaker here in this type of composition. It's a smart switch from Undead. But you go over to McCree, where McCree now is like even at a worse disadvantage than the Widowmaker was, right? Because now McCree doesn't have as long as firing range as the Widowmaker, and it makes it even harder. But I think the play would probably be here to have Roshan jump on top of Baby Bay and then let
just make space.
Just let the other tanks deal with it on the point with Undead.
Dante taking a big step back there. You can see that Nomi was hardly shifted by that first dive. However, it might be a free tick here to the Dragons. It is. So the San Francisco Shock are happy to give that one up here and just let it rip here. Riptide coming through, had to be used to get the D-suit on MG, but I think Dante's happy about that one. He keeps himself alive. They haven't given a second tick amongst all that commotion. And now Dante has so much room now. Like, Undead only kills him by getting a couple of nice shots. It's probably not going to happen. He's out in the open. against Baby Bay and goes down. Look, we talk about this, man. The fundamental game, right? Shanghai have it, but picking McCree into a Widowmaker here and not making enough space for him to sort of stay alive, it's tough to see.
I remember a game that we casted in stage 1 against the LA Gladiators for Shanghai versus LA. And it was the same type of thing. You remember that Surefour was sitting up top on the archers on the Widowmaker, and then they were running Hydration on Doomfist. And what did they do then, Shanghai? They actually switched from Widow off into McCree, and they weren't able to make any progress. So
I wish McCree was the answer to every problem. As someone who plays him, it's just not. At least it doesn't seem that way.
Nomi will use a supercharger here to give themselves a little bit more damage on the point. Roshan will get rid of that. It's going to be a coalescence that comes through here from Altering.
Oh, okay.
It's a big pick, though. Undead gets a huge pick there on the Dante, so that's a lot of damage. He gets Dak in the process as well.
Yeah, Undead actually getting himself in a great spot to pick these guys up, but Baby Bay's not done. Hit scan players having the most impact in this fight so far, and it may be that full-scale retreat. Altering almost falls to the Biotic Orb thrown out. No, it was sorry. It was a halt. It looked like an orb.
So they could combo the grab with maybe it's going to be the Kree ultimate, the Deadeye here. But he's going to be a very easy target for Baby Bay. We can take a look at some of the shots. It's a fantastic shot there on a Roshan. Obviously, the benefit of the infra site here is that when the fight gets going on the point, it's going to be 5King using his sound barrier as Dia is looking for a good spot to use this grab.
Yeah, sets it up on the high ground and catches Dak, and Baby Bay's also there, but he's kind of obscured by the side of the building, so only the one kill from that one, but Dak and Nomi already fell to the Deadeye from Undead. So now that McCree getting some space, getting churned up, getting a bit fired up as well. Finally, it pays off. Fair bit of time shaved off the clock, in all honesty, though. But now Shanghai are on the move at least. Let's see how Undead open this up.
And Undead has taken some very nice routes with this McCree. He's able to pick up 2. So just in that last push, right, he takes out Dante at the beginning. So Dante has switched over to Tracer now. Baby Bay will play McCree. Now you have Nomi will play Reinhardt here. So maybe we'll have to see Shanghai make some changes to their comp, right? Because you have Roshan playing that Winston. Now it's really to kind of counter Baby Bay on the McCree. Now that there's not Baby Bay on the Widowmaker, now that he's McCree and you have some other heroes in the mix like Reinhardt, maybe you want to get a Reinhardt of your own here in the street space.
Dragons now to set up. Pulse Bomb drop behind them. Dunton's not able to find any lethal damage with it, and now backs away. The Coalescence is going to force the Shock to give him a bit of ground here, but Dak gets caught up in the churning mist. He's down. Sleepy also falling. It's going to be a complete wipe. The San Francisco Shock were not ready for that. A Reinhardt shield does not protect you from a blast like Altering.
Yeah, Altering is played great here on Moira. This is one of the maps we thought we would see more Moira, and we haven't seen her really that much throughout all
people get
super this far.
Discouraged because they're playing that into a Diva and they kind of know that the vast majority of it
I
be nullified?
I think that's where it's really kind of come from, is that like the Moira versus Diva. With Diva being in every game, it really kind of makes it difficult. It's going to be Undead here, using the Deadeye, just trying to force players back. It'll be Nevix who gets onto the point. It'll be a self-destruct that gets launched.
Okay, no one falling to that one, except for the pursuit of MG, and Nomi scoops him up as soon as he's removed and meets him with Death's Embrace. So Shanghai Dragons are done for that fight, but the Shock did have to expend a few ultimates to try and keep them at bay. However, the Dragons don't have a heck of a lot to work with themselves. It might once again be a Graviton Surge that opens this fight up for them. Nevix, I mean, if the Shock have been able to track that ultimate at all, or kind of expected, then he's probably thinking, #1 goal, eat this grab. And if they do that, I think the Shanghai Dragons get held here.
Well, even if they don't eat it, Sleepy does have the Transcendence to get on through it. You don't really have a ton of damage coming out from the Shanghai Dragons, right? I mean, you don't have like a 76, right? Or just kind of like a Reaper or Roadhog to just kind of push on through to that Graviton Surge.
Nevix spots the flank early here, but doesn't quite get in position fast enough. Sleepy still has to use the Transcendence to stay alive.
Yeah, Roshan uses Primal Range to get that out. No, the grab comes out. No, you didn't get anybody in it.
That cannot happen right now. This is when things need to be going smoothly for the Dragons. They got 35 seconds left. The Graviton just completely misses the mark. Undead trying to make amends. Deadeye cleans up Baby Bay. Nevix now just giving a bit of ground, waiting for the sound barrier to dissipate, but Dante has gone down. So despite a slight flub there on the ultimate usage, Sleepy here just going to have to succumb rather quickly. They will give up that second checkpoint. The Dragons have a shot at getting the map done.
Baby Bay will switch off to Widowmaker, and they'll have Dante play Junkrat here. So they're really trying to deny Undead a lot of space. He's been doing very well on the McCree. There's 64% weapon accuracy on McCree. That's pretty insane coming out from Undead. But now we know they're going to be able to spam around these corners. So, you know, with Dante playing Junkrat, he does fall at the hands of Undead, but he takes out Roshan the time being. And you're going to have Baby Bay at range who just switch over to Widow. Look at this. I mean, already at 80,
just chunking away.
90% to his ult.
He's only, well, he's concerned, obviously, he's being dived by both MG and Roshan. If that happens, though, the shot kind of probably feels like they can go in. Zarya's not great at peeling for a backline, except outside of the shield that she uses, so Baby Bear doesn't mind getting dived on here, and you can see the Dante controlling space well, removing Undead. He is fully charged right now. He does demand respect. 71 HP, you can see the Shocker trying to remove the charged up Zarya from the map, and Baby Bay provides the kill.
Yeah, they tried to speed up Undead playing the McCree using a Deadeye. They put a Zarya bubble on him as well, but as soon as it wore off and Dante had that infra sight, you were able to just spam the grenades around the corner, chunk him down pretty quick. Undead will go over to Widowmaker here. So we can take a look from Baby Bay's POV. The guys played quite well switching over to Widowmaker. We know what he can do on these hit scan heroes.
Really nice. Again, he's got a lot of room to work. It's a big part of our playing Widow. Look at Roshan, he can't come forward anymore. A little bit of a tickle from Nomi would have ended his life. So very, very quickly, they bring the ambulance in, the Dragons, to keep their tanks up and healthy. Dante, has he been detected? He has, yeah, he's not going anywhere with that Riptire. MG actually kills him and his Riptire. That's a huge turnaround. Great flex tank play for the Shanghai Dragons, but Baby Bay, again, a factor. He's back in the mix. He's found 2 already. Dia's on the payload. And there's actually Undead on that Widowmaker, so Baby Bay might not be aware of where he's standing right now. It doesn't matter, Undead went down. Nomi made the right decision in clearing the Widowmaker off the high ground. That was Baby Bay's biggest threat. Now he can sit back, lean into this damage, and pretty much cover this one for the rest of the Shock, man.
Yeah, Shanghai did make a decent amount of progress, though, here, Mitch. The cleanup kills should come in. The hold should happen for the San Francisco Shock. And Dia launched a good grab. He actually connected with 2 players. They tried to follow it up with a self-destruct. It was just a little bit too late there from Shanghai. So didn't get a ton out of those Graviton surges, but it does. The Shanghai Dragons do make good progress here on King's Row.
2 checkpoints down. About 46.5 meters, so it's very close to that hairpin turn on that last stage. If you don't recall it, we'll see it just before we jump back into the match here, but not terrible for the Dragons at all. It looked like they were going to be stopped on multiple occasions there. It seemed like it would come down to that one Graviton surge, but there was actually enough presence there from the Dragons to clean things up. And that's a good thing. When they come back in to that fight just before the second point, they manage their ultimates to such a degree that they've got a lot to work with. You can afford to make a mistake here and there.
So for defense here for Shanghai, I think you need to be really careful. If Baby Bay comes out on the Widowmaker, what is your response? Are you going to play Orisa? Are you going to play Reinhardt? Do you want to play more like a dive? Be very difficult on the defensive end to play McCree. Like, where are you going to set up? Right now, that looks like what is going to happen. It'll be a Reinhardt Diva combination.
Can you play McCree against this?
It'd be hard.
Okay.
I mean, especially if Dante, well, we don't know what Dante's going to play yet, right? I mean, he could play Hanzo.
If they play Hanzo Widow, Undead's going to get smashed.
It'd be very difficult for him to play against that double sniper combination.
Yeah, I mean, we speak from this from a conceptual standpoint, of course, but Undead needs to be at least half of the range that Dante and Baby Bay have as their optimal ranges. Scatter arrow is really scary if he's trying to sort of stay safe. Then Dante could throw it in. It's also possible Dante just goes for a sonic arrow and checks the middle statue or the bus and then switches off. Again, McCree versus Widow is not a fun matchup. You have to keep his head down. Undead.
I mean, maybe Dante just fires a sonic arrow, then goes over to Tracer.
He plays a Hanzo on Dorada.
Yeah, sure.
Nevix eats up that Biotic Orb early on, denying ultimate percentage of the
So
weight.
he's going to play Pharah. This is going to be very hard because Undead is going to have to obviously, monitor where Baby Bay is. Doesn't want to get caught just kind of standing. And then also he's going to get pelted with rockets from the sky. So a lot of pressure here on Undead. And now you look at, the way Shanghai's reacting, right? You don't have a Roadhog, so there's no threat of like a hook in the sky, right?
Nomi's
trying to knock him out.
Well, Nomi's up behind him, Matt. And it's tough, you're right. Undead has now got a lot of priorities. He's not sure where to go, but look, it just drops down. And he's going to have his jump available. That's really nice.
Nice play for Nomi,
so some discord in the ranks. Dante gets a chance to get some free damage. Definitely wants to connect a few more rockets here and not get taken down by MG. That would be less than ideal. But now the San Francisco Shock have been able to wrap around. They've got a lot of room, Matt.
And Sleepy is up on the high ground, and he's going to be able to just discord all these players in the corner.
Oh, that hurts.
See, oh, a nice rocket there, and then Nomi's right on top of it to finish it off.
And then no one can kill Dante pretty much. He can just do whatever the heck he wants, and that's going to be get easy rocket damage, throw it straight into the mix of the Shanghai Dragons players. They can't even peek out of the Alderworth Hotel right now, Matt. That's just how dire this situation is. And Dante, by the time they do get out, will probably have a barrage ready, so he's hoping to get rid of MG's mech as soon as possible. Ultra gets cut down while he was using the Coalescence. That's so nasty. And Dante doesn't even have to use that Pharah ultimate. That's so big.
They do end up using both support ults here, though, to take the point. The Shock will unlock point A. It's a really nice Pharah pick. I didn't expect that out of the Shock.
Again, Dante doesn't have to just 1v1 undead. We saw what happened. He hits a direct hit. Nomi immediately recognizes that there's a McCree, who, by the way, his only mobility is a short roll backwards. He just jumps on him and finishes him off.
Well, it's really nice because, look, Baby Bay can play these angles, right? No, Undead's trying to put pressure on him from range. Who else is trying to get into space? If you're not going to play a Winston, it's really on MG. Then MG can't use that defense matrix to eat up a lot of those rockets. So you just kind of chunk down Roshan's shield over time. And then, MG is getting weak, just going in, a little bit deeper than probably he would like. So, just time after time, you're just chunking these players down.
And slowly, the Shock are just taking more space and getting in a better position. That's the barrage we're waiting for. So only the one Undead. Interesting, he trades a Deadeye out against a... I mean, his target was stationary, so he probably didn't need to use that. Perhaps he queued it up prior. It's a 1-for-1 regardless, and Ultra's been brought back into the fray, but Roshan's missing here. Graviton Surge. Nevix was playing off to the side and couldn't eat it up, and that's self-destruct gonna hurt. It's a 3K for MG. The classic Big Bang combo. Haven't seen it in quite some time. We'll add a fourth there. The Shanghai Dragons get some room.
It was a heads-up play by Nomi. He actually did drop his Winston bubble right over the Graviton Surge because the self-destruct's right on the outside of it, but the guys on Shanghai, they were able to break up that Winston bubble rather quickly. Helps eliminate 3 players. So Baby Bay will play Roadhog here. So they're going to go for a tank-heavy composition. They're going to have Dante play Junkrat. So you value the damage that Junkrat can bring over the energy he's going to give Dia here.
Roshan getting close to that. Earth's Shatter hit a big fire strike there. Actually boosted his ultimate by about 15 points, so that's quite good. Baby Bay is very mindful of what that Ryan can do. Roshan coming forward here. Dante falls to that one. That was an unassisted Deadeye. Good shielding there. That's real nice from Dia. Keeping Roshan alive, and that's allowing Undead just to do more damage. This is good play from the Dragons.
And Nomi trying to dive in towards the back, and
look at that again.
Another nice shield there from Dia. His Zarya was very good in that Hollywood game league cast that they ended up taking. Seeing some very impressive Zarya play from Dia.
Yeah, he's 100% charged, by the way. So obviously, those hooks, he wants Baby Bay to try and hook people. He just puts a shield on the victim and he gets 100 charge after 2. I
mean, his average energy right now is sitting at 40%, so very good considering you spend a lot of time now coming out the spawn. Obviously it's 0, so.
Shatter in. Transcendence to respond here. I think there was a shield in the way regardless, and Roshan's trying to hold the door for the time being. Coalescence cutting through from the backside, and a self-destruct doesn't find too much out of Graviton to respond. This might be the play. Oh, it's going to be nasty. You know it is. Self-destruct in. Only Dak falling. You can see the Shock just trying to spread to the 4 wins. But losing Nevix's Meg and Dak to that now has to be a response. Dante needs to connect this. It's got to be big. Undead backing up. He's got himself 2. Where's the rest of the Shock, though? No, Nomi gets jumped on by 3 for the Dragons. And the Shock, once again, are going to have to head back to spawn and the drawing board.
And you see Dia already back up to 61% towards a grab, 1:50 left. Shanghai putting together a very good defense here on this corner, and Dead doing a nice job on the McCree now. They're still sitting at a 67% weapon accuracy, just landing these shots, really punishing San Francisco. As San Francisco is now at Baby Blade, go over to D.Va. They're going to have their own Zarya come in. It'll be Nevix.
San Francisco now, a lot of switches, so their ultimate economy's in the bin. Have to get it back the old-fashioned way here, and this is the war. This is again, this is back and forth. War of attrition, chunk each other down. Big tanky bodies are hard to burst or remove from the fight very quickly. But Dia's got another Graviton, man. Unbelievable.
And you saw him trying to put a lot of pressure on the Baby Bay, get him D-Mech, then land an easy grab. It's only a minute to go. Dak will have his sound barrier here used, and he's going to use it now.
Sound barrier here, Coalescence cutting through it though. Where's the rest of the follow-up? That's it! Great layering of ultimates, and Roshan brings the hammer down. Valhalla would have been impressed with that one, but he actually doesn't get too much for it. Here's a response. Brief disengage, and now they're coming back forward. Dunty gets rid of Undead with a Riptire, but he's brought back in the background. Nemix thinking about the Graviton. Where do I put this one? Get the most effect, and he doesn't really get anything out of it. MG's kind of brought into it after the fact, but it definitely wasn't impressive. Definitely a little bit meh from him. It is going to be more. With only 30 seconds left in the round, they need to keep pressuring forward, but this is a good start. D is down. Undead is felled by concussive miner. Nomi's ready for the Earth Shatter of his life. Ready to deal with Roshan now. To pressure up. Roshan's knocked aside here, and it should be passage safe for the San Francisco Shock for the last stage of this map.
Oh, and if there was any follow-up to Roshan's Earth Shatter, Shanghai probably takes this map. He lands a 4-man Earth Shatter, and they don't get anything out of it, and he ends up falling at the hands of Nomi. Oh man, if there's some follow-up there for Shanghai, they probably take this map. Now the payload is moving towards the box of victory here for San Francisco. It'll be a self-destruct that comes in with an Earth Shatter as well, and that's going to be 2.
Nomi, Ultra in 5 to get down there. The self-destruct didn't claim its target, but perhaps it just didn't have to. Coalescence now, bit of icing on the cake to remove MG from the picture. No more Baby Diva stalling available for the Zen. The Dragons now, the Shock to pressure for. They've got this one. They forced them back easily enough, or maybe it was something there before that second checkpoint. That was a glimmer of hope for the Dragons. That was not easy for the Shock.
No, not at all. As see the guys from the Shock on the screen, they don't even look too happy with that map when Shanghai was right in their grasp, you know, right before that second checkpoint was about to tick. The Shock just come up clutch though, and they will take the series, winning 3 maps. We'll see if Shanghai can get one on the board though.
That's it. Tough times towards the end there. Very, very difficult for the Shanghai Dragons to get back to the payload after getting wiped right outside the checkpoint. That's the way the cookie crumbles here. We'll be back with our 4th map in just a few.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network.
now, ladies and gentlemen. True to form, there have been signs of life, of course, from the Shanghai Dragons, but again, they fall short. Weren't able, obviously, to secure that third map, and it's going to be already 3-0 over to the San Francisco Shock, who have looked very, very good.
And that's Philadelphia.
There you go. That's right. Philadelphia left such an impression on all of us now that we
want to see them play again.
All our graphics, we're just going to leave them there, guys. You're just going to have to interpret from the faces now. You should know these players well enough by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, tough one. The Shock looking very, very good, though. Bringing in now the Widowmaker and the Junkrat combination, which is really interesting on a couple occasions here. Dia Zarya was very, very good, but ultimately not enough to show.
Yeah, I thought Dia played a very good Zarya there. I thought Undead, we talked about them helping him a lot out earlier in this series, and it may end up hurting some of the other players. That time he played a very good McCree throughout that map.
Difficult times for Roshan, though, as well. In terms of deaths, he was definitely dying about twice as often as his teammates in general, or each teammate, right? So a little bit difficult for him to really find a sort of a comfortable spot, but he had a massive Earth Shatter that probably would have been the map.
It would have been a game. It would have been a game-winning Shatter if there's any follow-up there, without a doubt. I mean, he lands, as a 4-man Shatter. There's under a minute to go. You would have been able to take everybody out, and that would have been the game potentially there for the Shanghai Dragons. Unfortunately, doesn't happen. The Shock, they will take Kings Row as well. You saw they're up 3-0 in our series. We'll see if Shanghai can get a map on the board here.
Again, a map where we expect to see some Widowmaker in general. So both of these two teams have sort of flaunted Widow players previously. Undead, of course, for the Dragons, and Baby Bay for the San Francisco Shock. A tough map, really, you can't really get away. I really feel like some of the best looks we've seen from the Dragons, and at least in this stage, is when they're playing that triple tank setup, where they're looking quite comfortable around it. They've got good coordination, generally, when it comes to setting up those big Wombo ults that we saw prior. Can't really do it here.
Well, triple tank and even quad tank, I mean, for a lot of the people at home, you kind of, when you're playing competitive, that's a fairly easy strategy to just kind of coordinate it, right? So, hey, let's get a bunch of tanks. Let's
it's literally stand inside the Lucio circle that you can see.
Stand in, yeah. Stand in the circle, run to the point. So
you get a template.
It's a fairly, a simple strategy, right? And I think it's one that, like, if you're a team that's, like, struggling, in terms of putting together, really coordinated dives and such like that, it's one that's, pretty viable to fall back on. Don't think it's extremely viable here on Gibraltar, right? There's just too much verticality that you have to contest.
It always seems like the comp that murders, or the setup that kind of murders those competitions. The second stage in Kings Row works because there's not really verticality. It's a fairly straight and close quarter affair, but the map of Gibraltar, ladies and gentlemen, is a very different beast. You can see here we have a lot of those causeways and high ground to be working with. Teams obviously can take their pick of how they'd like to approach things. Will Altering be the man? Will he be the one, the promised one, the chosen one? The one that we need but don't deserve to play that Widowmaker.
To play Widowmaker, right?
Oh, sorry, the Symmetra.
I was like, Undead will definitely play Widow here. Okay, so we're going to see Dia play Genji. I like this. I think that something that they've lacked is they don't really have a Genji player, Shanghai. Right now, with the players they have here, Dia and Undead, primarily both hit scan players, so very difficult to play a projectile hero like Genji or even a Pharah. So they're going to have Dia play. Yep, that's a very nice shot that comes out there from Undead. They'll have Dia play Genji here because they want to contest Baby Bay on the high ground with not just Undead, so trying to take some pressure off Undead.
So the double threat. Two things that Baby Bay should generally be a little bit concerned about. Same could be said, though, on the other side of things. Of course, Dust is piloting the Genji, which means that Undead, you can see, he doesn't want to commit to the high ground. He kind of wants to stay back until his cooldown on his grappling hook is over. There's Dia now. Who's he looking for? He has spotted Baby Bay in the back there. Altering can see his with him, so giving him that little bit of healing. Sees Dak. Knows he can't break through Nomi, but he'll take some free ultimate percentage if that's what he's going to get.
They have made decent progress on the payload, though, so they've made it underneath the bridge and around the corner. They're going to use their Valkyrie to get aggressive on the high ground.
They're diving on a Diva. Interestingly enough there, so they weren't looking for the backline, but Dak gets picked out by Undead regardless. Nevix now can return to the fray, but he'll just be desuited. Self-destruct, he'll want to try and jump back in if he possibly can, and Dia needs to wait. Will be a resuit for Nevix, so again, a lot of time being bought for the Shock.
Yeah, both Widowmakers, they're in for side up. Dead, they do get Dante with a few shots. That's when you gotta be able to finish him off, which they do. It's gonna be Altering who finishes him off. Should be, whether it's Roshan or Dia able to finish it off, though. It's gonna be Undead who takes out Sleepy. The Transcendence is used here for Shanghai. They should be able to move it past here. It'll be Nomi using Primal Rage. It'll be Dante using that Dragon Blade trying to cut through some players.
That's it. An aggressive play from Nomi there, trying to get on top of Undead, eventually proves to be his undoing. We can see that Babybay was juggling a lot of threats. He was dealing with a Winston close to him and the Widowmaker threat across the map. Well, Nomi shuts that down. Lightens the load a little bit for Babybay, but he falls to Undead. Undead winning these Widow duels. He's actually coming out on top in some of these now. Dax's been spotted out, low HP. Trying to get away, but it won't happen. Roshan finds him now. The Dragons are looking like they're about to get into the driver's seat.
Yeah, they should be able to advance the payload from here. It's Nevix and Nomi alive. As there you see Nomi, he will fall. They will start to advance this payload. Okay, so they'll take point A. You know, I thought they were going to take in that previous fight, right? They get both supports early. They have a Dragon Blade as well. I don't think they get any kills with their Blade. And San Francisco able to hold on for a little bit longer. It's going to be Dia, though, going right through Sleepy there. So Sleepy actually got that front spawn. The rest of San Francisco got the spawn all the way in the back. So we'll have to wait for Sleepy. This will be more progress made here for Shanghai.
It is very important that the it is very important that the shock can prevent, or are prevented by the Dragons from getting back inside the shuttle phase. If the Dragons relent for just one moment and allow the shock to sort of take those high ground positions and get control of this area, it could be dangerous for them.
But you just see when somebody plays with Roshan, you have a Genji in the mix, so you play a little bit more aggressive. That's going to be a 2K with a self-destruct there out of Nevix. He gets MG, who was demexed. He does get Undead. You see Dia, though. Now, I've been impressed with Dia's Genji, you know. He's been able to get to the high ground, really do some work. He'll earn himself another blade.
It was nice from Altering there. I think Dia was actually about to die to Babybay, but Altering jumped in there and gave him some of that healing. You can see that self-destruct there being thrown across the map, and everyone tries to head towards the skies. You can see Undead trying to get up on the shuttle. Would have been dangerous for him to do that anyway, but he didn't even make it.
And now it'll be harder for Undead to get these shots onto Babybay, and it's going to be Dante using the Dragon Blade because he's going to be able to play on top of that ship. You see 2 kills go in favor of the San Francisco Shock right away. But now Babybay controls that high ground. It's going to be Undead just having to like walk through one of 2 doors. So make it 3 if you want to go. No, 4 to either of the bottom doors. But it's really not the opportunity, you know, to contest him up on that high ground. You know, shooting all the way from the low ground up to the top of the ship, very difficult. You're going to come out of those 2 top doors. It's going to be very easy for Babybay to predict this.
Undead, he's about 45% of his team's final blows right now, which is big. He's definitely winning out. Babybay has 1 final blow on this Widowmaker. Undead has 6.
I mean, they're about the same in terms of accuracy, right? It's just not a lot of follow-up onto the kills, on the damage that Babybay's putting down. There'll be Nevix with a kill early onto MG. So I feel like a lot of the times when Shanghai loses these fights, they lose their tanks early. It's going to be Dia and Roshan going in deep, though. It's going to be Dia using that Dragon Blade.
It's all a bit of a mess right now. There are fights happening on 2 parts of the map, but Babybay's been brought back to life. Where he's set up is in that back corner here for the shot. Dia now trying to chase down Sleepy, who's not really in a great position. He's very far away from his team. Now Dia can go forward. Note that he's being held up by Altering and Undead. Again, when Babybay's got to choose between the Genji in his face and the Widow at long range, it's going to be very, very hard for him to win that out.
And maybe you would like to see Babybay, okay, I was going to say switch off of the Widowmaker. He's going to go over to Tracer here. It'll be Valkyrie popped by Shanghai, so a lot of healing going down to the point. Able to keep them up. Unfortunately, they're going to lose 2 players, Freefield and Undead. They were just playing a little bit out of range of Altering.
Dante, Dragon Blade, sees Dia on the low ground, knows he's reflecting, thinks to find Altering. Just the 1 slash for each of these targets. He'd be thankful that his team softened him up for him. And yeah, Babybay on that Tracer. Some say, Matt, he's the 2nd best Tracer in the world after Michael. You ask Babybay?
Who would say that?
Well, Babybay and Michael. I should say that all the time. But yeah, so we see him going for that pick now, and this is actually big. If San Francisco can get a decent setup, this is the way you choke out an attacking team. The Dragons realistically have 1 good fight and 1 average one, and they don't have a lot of ultimates there. The support ultimates aren't really there right now, so it's... Okay, man, Undead, great pick. That's what they needed to start this off, though. Get a man advantage.
Nice pick early. Looks like Babybay, though, they got MG pretty weak. They get him demexed, and now it's going to be the blade from Dia. He's able to get 1, looking for more.
And Dak gets a good move there to save the backline from Dia, but still, anyone who commits themselves to trying to fight on the payload now is probably going to fall to Dia's Genji or Undead's Widowmaker. Both of them combining, working in tandem very well, and that'll get them the point. I've got to say, Undead hit the shot when he had to. Yep. Really nice from him. 9 final blows on this Widowmaker right now. Just starting to kick off. And getting to be quite the thorn in the side for the shot.
Yeah, I mean, 53% scoped accuracy as well, so hitting a lot of these shots does have the damage boost that comes in from Altering, as you saw on your screen there for a quick second. You see it now. Back up.
Okay. Nomi in, does have an Orb of Discord on him, but Undead couldn't get a clear shot, especially with the shield in the way. And that's a huge Transcendence used downrange by Sleepy. Tries to rush into the fight, and it's very strange to see the Shock to try and actually fight here so aggressively. They're back up now for the moment. Both of those Zenyatta ultimates have been drawn out, but Dak has a sound barrier. Altering dies with his Valkyrie.
Did end up using your own Transcendence there, San Francisco Shock, trying to back them up, but you got Freefield to use his. With 40 seconds left, if Freefield 27% probably won't get back up to it. It'll be Dia who takes out Baby Bay. Undead still doing work here on the Widowmaker, just peeking around the corner. It's going to be Dak using their sound barriers. They're going to try and push on in, but it's going to be Undead getting a D-Mech there on the Nevix, and he's going to be able to take out Dante.
21 seconds left. The win condition for the Shanghai Dragons is heavily based upon Undead hitting his shots. That's why it's conditional. However, connects. Oh, the bubble being put down. That was so good. The bubble prevented Undead from actually being hooked into Baby Bat, if I'm not mistaken. He landed that one. That's the pulse bomb. That's what the Dragons need to start to get their way home. Dante and Nomi being missing from the mix. That's the key. With Dak falling, it's only 3 members left on the San Francisco Shock there. You can see Nevix commits himself to the point, then backs away to the side, buying time. Sleepy comes out, mid-transcendence, and Freefield can sit back. He'll have his in just a moment. Nevix taking a lot of damage now, and that's going to be the transcendence coming out of Freefield here. That's what they were looking for. There's the D-shoot. Nevix is down. Baby Bay off towards the side. He's had better days. I'll give you the big tip. Roshan cleans him up. Dak's going to go down. Dia's got the pulse bomb, and he's not afraid to use it. Who'll be the first to peek out? It's going to be Sleepy. He avoids getting taken down by the pulse bomb at the very least, but look at that. No one to contest right now. And the Shanghai Dragons make their way through. Even Moomer enjoyed that, Matt.
Yeah, that was a dominant half from Undead. 22 limbs, 12 final blows, really won the Widowmaker battle against Baby Bay, and there towards the end. So difficult. Baby Bay switches over to Roadhog, and at that point you have Roadhog and Dante playing Tracer. You have no opportunity to challenge Undead up on that high ground.
Pulse bomb, Dia, I mean, we're going to see it right now. He opens this up. I was midway talking about Undead being kind of the win condition, because prior to that he had been on this map. 12 final blows for him, but for Dia, it's been 9. A very solid Tracer performance from him.
And you saw Roshan able to stay alive as well. Roshan, only 5 deaths there, same exact amount as Nomi, but more than double the eliminations.
Big difference, isn't it? Big contribution all around. Yeah, not afraid to get his hands dirty, old mate Roshan. We've seen that. So now, we rotate back around, and Undead's starting to feel a little bit on that Widowmaker. There's a lot to be said for not changing something that your enemies can't really respond to. The Dragons get the map done with no time made, which is a decent effort, because Gibraltar is one of the longest maps in this game in terms of escort distance. It's hard to finish it, in time sometimes.
So Shanghai will play Dia on Tracer here on defense. I really liked what we saw from his Genji there in the first half, and you think you could play the same exact composition that the San Francisco Shock played, right? You can play that Genji, Widowmaker, and you can just play for that high ground, right? You can really force Baby Bay into some difficult spots, and especially with Undead winning that Widowmaker battle in the first half, right? If you put even more pressure on Baby Bay, you're able to win that. Maybe you're able to put up a very good hold on point A. Altering will be playing Ana here, so very interesting. Usually you see when Widowmaker's in the game, Mercy come through, but it'll be Ana Zen here.
Yeah, I mean, Undead's going to be expected to be able to complete these kills much on his own. Perhaps, again, he opens up with the first shot, and then the rest of his team capitalizes, or Dia runs in and sets it up. Oh yeah, you expect Mercy.
Well, you usually would see Ana Zen if you're going to play like a 76 and sit in the server room, right? If you're going to play the Widowmaker up on the high ground, Ana is a fairly easy target for some of these Widowmakers.
They could be, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I guess Undead's going to sit up there with the Ana. There's some peel for the dive. There's a Bionade. There's obviously a sleep dart there. It's a little bit different. It's a slight variation, at least on the theme that we've seen before. Baby Bay not getting too aggressive here. You can see, again, if he steps up where Dante is standing and he doesn't have his grappling hook on cooldown, he might get jumped on. That could have been a big shot there. Free field, perhaps a little bit overextended from that high ground position.
And you can see where Altering's playing from Baby Bay's POV. He's just playing right on that corner, just darting out, giving some healing to Roshan and crew, and then he's also healing Undead up on that high ground.
You definitely tell that Baby Bay's getting sick of waiting for his target to appear. He's just starting to chunk down whoever he sees, but Altering on the other side is, doing the opposite. He's literally trying to cancel out everything that Baby Bay's been doing with that damage. Baby Bay knows that Dia is in there. Dia also knows that he's been revealed. He's not showing himself.
Be a nano boost coming out from Shanghai onto MG as he's going on top, trying to do some damage, but it's going to be Dante doing the damage.
He's everywhere.
Take out 3 players with that Dragon Blade.
That's really nice. That was smooth as silk there from Dante. Realizes he didn't really want to try and kill MG up on the high ground, but he looks down. He sees that Roshan was within kill range from 1 or 2 slashes, and he takes that opportunity instead. Very efficient work from Dante, and the Shock will get themselves that first checkpoint. 4 minutes, 42 on the clock.
We usually don't see too many nano boosts go over to a Diva as well. In this type of situation, would usually go over to Roshan as Winston, for the damage mitigation to stay on that point.
It's much the same, though, isn't it?
I guess. Yeah, I guess it would kind of work as the same. I feel like, we are Diva, you're just going to play a little bit more, aggressive. We see nano boosts used not really for the damage, more of the damage reduction. You would play them on the point. It'll be Baby Bay opening things up with a headshot on the Undead. That'll be Transcendence as well to keep everybody alive for the Shock. And here's going to be a Transcendence really late for Shanghai, and it's just MG alive, so they're going to get nothing with that Transcendence.
See, Baby Bay can't tell if he's playing Overwatch or at a rave right now. All of the colors, but he still manages to complete those 2 kills despite a lot of chaotic action on the high ground, especially that the Transcendence was being thrown in there by Sleepy.
But this is where Shanghai would love to have their own Transcendence, right? They use it there when it's only Freefeel, who's obviously the Zenyatta, using the Transcendence, MG and altering alive. Now you don't have it potentially come out here and stall this payload.
Okay, well, Roshan goes for the butt dive on Baby Bay. Baby Bay's able to get back and continue to smash down MG. Freefeel, no chance of getting out of that one. Dante's still full health here. Dragon Blade's been so good from him this game, really making a difference. And there it is, the slash to finish off MG. The Shock have really not been stopped at all on this map, Matt. Just smooth sailing.
If you had that Transcendence, so you probably would have been able to live through that Blade, right? I mean, that's where we see...
That's a safe assumption, yeah.
That's where we see Shanghai. They play these teams so close, and then there's those little plays, right, where they end up using that Transcendence. Now they don't have one. For the next fight, the other team has Blade. They're able to take that point easy. Where, if they were able to put up a little bit of better hold there, you never know what happens.
Do you think holding your Transcendence is a fundamental or a tactical level error?
I don't know. I feel like there's so many different layers, right? You don't know what the calls are from the rest of your teammates. If they think they can swing the fight in their favor. Maybe you thought, everybody was coming off a respawn a little bit faster there, and you could use the Transcendence to extend it. So, don't really know. So many factors.
Something went wrong. That's all we know. MG and Roshan hugging the corner here as Tank's off and doing his position. And Undead there, just getting good damage into Nomi. Roshan with a primer rate. Baby Bay was hoping to reciprocate on Undead's work, but he can't now. His target's far too big and burly. He'll sit back and stay safe here. Roshan now runs out of steam, but not before Dante gets taken down by MG's self-destruct, so there's really not much to be done here for the Shock. Dia going down is a bit concerning for the Dragons. They really don't want to lose him here, but there's not really any way for the Shock to capitalize on that kill.
Shock will have their Valkyrie plus Dragon Blade. Freefeel will have his Transcendence this time, though, so we'll see if he can use that Transcendence at the right time. Keep his team topped up through that Dragon Blade. That'll come from Dante yet again.
Shock want to finish this map with a bit of time in the bank because both teams are going to have a crack at it a second time. Shanghai Dragons will get a minute. So Dante, that Dragon Blade, I mean, they've been so good so far. If we're looking for an overarching narrative that would sort of dictate how the Shock's been going on this half, it'll be that. Let's see. Dante looking to go in. There we go. Freefeel going to use that Transcendence, and Dante just takes a big step back. Sleepy says, well, do I really need to use mine? I'm not sure. Now it's time. Freefeel just gets completely popped. Ultra and Undead sitting up the back. Dante tries to go in. He's got one more flash. He's got him. No respect. No quarter being offered by Dante. And Baby Bay sitting in the background, picking daisies, getting a couple frags there, of course, off the back of the incredible threat generated by Dante going so deep.
And I don't think San Francisco knows Dia is all the way back by the response. So he's going to come all the way from the back and get a touch on this point. He should. You see the contest come through. That is Dia. Now the rest of the members come through for Shanghai. They're going to bring in a May.
Sleepy, though, deals with Roshan and gets the big DC on MG. What a great time to wake up. Excuse the pun. And that's Undead now falling down. It's going to be Dia there. Again, just trying to crouch up on the point, stay alive. No recall was going to be available. Couple more kills need to come in. Primer Rage would have done the job. And this puts the Shanghai Dragons into dire straits. They should have those straits pretty well charted out right now. You could call them cartographers of the ocean seas. But as it stands, they're going to be about 2.5 minutes behind in time bank when we go back for the replay.
Yeah, it'll be 3 minutes and 11 seconds for the San Francisco Shock. And for the Shanghai Dragons, it'll just be a minute. But on a map like this, Mitch, you got to say, with Widowmakers in play on both sides and how important her damage is, it just takes one pick to just start steamrolling on through. And this is a map where if you get to the shuttle, maybe you get some players split spawning, some players spawning up front, some players spawning all the way in the back. You can snowball it a little bit.
And that's the thing, we don't always get to caveat fights where we build up a story based around ultimates and say, look, here's what we're probably going to see. Because in reality, getting the first pick is about, I would say, between 5 and 10 times more important than having more ultimates.
Yeah.
It really makes a huge difference. So bringing that Widowmaker gives you the ability, I guess you get a power play. Playmaking ability is something that we don't always see in Overwatch because of how strong support ultimates are and tanks obviously being as tanky as they are. Widowmaker picks completely flip fights on their head.
San Francisco won't have a Widowmaker on D. Baby Bay will play Roadhog and Nevix. And obviously Nomi will play the other two tanks, so they'll run triple tank here. Dante on Genji.
They're going to play aggressively forward with
I think they're going to play right under that underpass, right? As soon as the cart starts to go down, they're going to jump right on it. And these beefy heroes. Dia, let's see. Okay, so Dia, does he stay with this, or is he going to switch? Right now, just hovering on Doomfist. So he will play Doomfist, interesting. But you don't really think of, okay, gonna go back to this one and switch it up. Maybe he was just trying to get a pick there up in the high ground. I was gonna say, we don't see a ton of Doomfist play on this map. Not a lot of opportunity, well, in the way that a lot of teams play to get those one-hit kills.
Was he picking Doomfist expecting like a triple tank setup?
But I think if he jumped up on top on the bridge and there were players playing up on top. Oh, no! There's a sick shot though from Undead. Takes out Sleepy.
Sleepy wishing he was the namesake of Undead.
Oh, and then they go for the res, and Roshan picks up the ball.
Such a risky play. The shock here might have just given the Dragons an open invitation into the second phase of this map after that error. Roshan dealt with. So, I guess the initiation potential being limited here, but Roshan's brought back into the fight pretty comfortably by altering. There's no one there to really pressure that out. And yeah, the shock have to back away and try and shore up their second point defense here. This has gone all wrong.
And that's exactly what we're talking about. One kill from a Widowmaker can change the game here, can start your team in the right direction, starting to snowball their way through the map. So Undead was able to take out Sleepy. The follow-up kill comes from Roshan, able to take out Dak. And Roshan does end up falling, but you have your own Mercy to res it. So Free Field getting close to Transcendence here. That'll be the first big support ult that comes online.
He is lurking here. Low, being jumped upon. Has to go for the recall now, and he recalled in compromising territory. He's still got a big stick, though. Whether it was Nomi or Nevix, damage was healed up pretty rapidly, so Dia doesn't get anything for it. Free Field getting res. Ultring's getting a lot of resurrect so far in this round. Not suffering much pressure, I guess it's safe to say. Dak, on the other hand, though, is.
And Shanghai has to be careful. They have to stay on the payload. MG on the payload for them right now. He's going to use his self-destruct and then just get battered away there by Nomi. That'll be it for Shanghai's attack. They did make good progress. San Francisco will have 3 minutes and 11 seconds, though, to beat it.
In my opinion, the Dragons have done what they had to do. With about a minute on the clock, there's not much more realistically one should expect to be able to obtain on that map than getting about halfway through the shuttle phase. So they can be content, well, satisfied at least with that. Now for the shock, 3 minutes and 11 seconds. I feel like, Matt, the extra tank inclusion there for Baby Bay definitely didn't really tip the scales. It wasn't what the doctor ordered, so to speak.
Yeah, it was, well, we didn't really get to see a great attempt at it, though, to be honest, because Sleepy gets picked so early, it just sends the whole thing into disarray. So, if they get their initial setup, which most likely would have been the 3 tanks at the end of the tunnel, just kind of down there, funneling on through with, Dante up top, kind of pestering Undead out. That's where you probably would have seen San Francisco play. What's interesting here for me, okay, I was going to say, Undead has been played so good on the Widowmaker. For a second, it looked like he was going to lock in 76, and now he's gone back and switched to yet again. So you're not going to have Undead on the Widowmaker. This does make a little bit more sense with Ana in the equation, though, up on that high ground. If you wanted to play in the server room, but the Widowmaker has been really hitting a lot of shots, man.
Does that still make you feel vulnerable, though, to a Widowmaker if you're a 76? I mean, you can kind of AD strafe and you're kind of fast, but it only takes one shot to really just make your life a living hell.
See what San Francisco's path of attack will be. Looks like, Dante just trying to get some ult charge here on Genji up on the high ground. Also, Potentially see if you have any Widowmaker shots come through. Tries to meet Dia there at the doorway to see if he comes on through. Doesn't get any damage on him.
Dia died to Baby Bay there briefly and actually got him down to about 30 to 40 HP. Wasn't able to complete the kill, but, you know, keeping Baby Bay honest here. Again, assisting with the breaking of the bubble.
Dante's built up this blade rather quickly.
That's true. I think he's farmed a lot of that damage off MG, by the way, and Roshan, who kind of had to be there at the door and stop him from pushing in. So he'll be more than happy to have farmed that off those tanks.
Well, and you don't have a big sustain ult other than free fields transcendent.
Oh, God.
You don't have it right now.
Oh, no, it's happening. Dante gets in. Cat amongst the pigeons. Was Ultra ready for this? No! Free field, watch out! Reflect is there, and that's it. Dante gets the job done. However, the rest of his team essentially very limited progress made on that ground here. The Roshan's a little bit low. Both supports aren't there, so that's an excellent play from MG to get aggressive on Dante to force him away. So you see, Dante wanted to hang around. He thought he could have picked up Roshan there. Eventually drops to Baby Bay, though. The cleanup was there.
Yeah, and Dead still up on that high ground. You still have MG here for the Shanghai Dragons, so you should be able to contest. You see he's getting a ton of healing from that corner from his Ana. Dead has to be very careful here against Baby Bay, but they do get MG back to the payload to contest. So Shanghai able to hold on. They burned about half of the time San Francisco had.
Dia falls over a poison mine on his way through, so definitely doesn't want to take that fight. What would have been about 80 HP. Nice shot there, Undead finally down. Baby Bay just wanted a friend, and he finally found him. Dak keeping the Widowmaker nice and healthy, but now the Primal Rage just might be too much. Big step back in for sight. You see that Roshan knew he had to double back to the payload. He had to contest it. And it means he couldn't go and get the kill on Baby Bay. He's down. He just lands right in front of Sleepy, who just gives him a salvo of orbs to the noggin. And MG chases Dante down, who did have that Dragon Blade yet again. It would have been another big opening opportunity, but there's only a minute left for the shock here. This has been good from the Dragons to hold off for so long. Tactical Visor. Nomi now just trying to open that field of view up and then go in for the Primal Rage. Impossible for Undead to get out here. Buying the shock some valuable moments on the payload. There will be another contest here, though, from the Dragons.
Yeah, Roshan and Dia will get in to get onto the payload, as you see Nomi just putting down a ton of damage onto Undead here. It'll be the first point unlocked from the San Francisco Shock. They get a clean sweep of everybody here as MG just trying to get away with his life. Needs to get away, can't afford to get demaxed. So this next fight, Undead will switch over to McCree. Altering will play Mercy. They have no support ults. Dante with that Dragon Blade yet again. He's been so good. 15 Dragon Blade kills during this map. Can he pick up a few more to close it out for the Shock?
It'll be him and Baby Bay. Baby Bay, previously with only 30% of Undead's final blows, now has equal. So he's really lifted in the last few moments. But yeah, we're looking at Dante. The payload's getting close now. There's no risk, really, and going aggressive here for the San Francisco Shock, and there's no margin of error left for the Shanghai Dragon. That's MG down. Self-destruct to force away. It was an attempt. Something was being done in the background, but Undead wasn't able to shut them down. And then McCree wasn't feeling safe there, and I don't blame him. The Shock make it the 4-0.
Yeah, Dante just comes up big here in our final map. 39 limbs, 23 final blows, 16 Dragon Blade kills. Now, the guy, since the end of stage 1, I would say like the final 2 weeks of stage 1 and then now into stage 2, has really elevated his gameplay. He's been playing very good as of late.
All over the board there, at least for the Shock. I mean, Sleepy there had an excellent match as well. Quite a couple of opportunities there that he had, that he took, opening up the fight. Early picks across the map. I mean, he's as good as a Widowmaker in some of those instances. And then, of course, we did need to mention the Widowmaker play. Undead looking excellent. Definitely his best Mac on that performance. Baby Bay stepped up, though, in the second half and ended up with more of those final blows, ultimately. Very impressive stuff from the Shock to weather the storm the Dragons brought. They definitely didn't take this one laying down. But that's it for us, Matt, and for the week. Let's head it now over to our desk to break things down and send us off.
Thank you so much. Shout out to Uber and Mr. X. Great job on the mic right there. We got to wrap up our day here with our discussion of what happened here in the second half. The Dragons kept it close at times, and I was really excited to see Dia on King's Row. He was bringing out the Zarya once again. We know he's a strong hit scan player, but the gravitons were a little bit off. Let's start here with some of the early grabs. This one impressed me, John.
It was a nice graviton, right? And you can see the Diva on the left. He's actually stuck in the wall because of the graviton. So it was a nice little graviton, but then sometimes it just doesn't work out. And
that one's at his feet. No one orange inside that grab.
I mean, you want to be careful, right? Because the enemy team is playing a Diva, so you want to avoid having your graviton surge Eden, of course.
close as well, but again, there's a transcendence in there. What I liked so much about the first one is that they paired it with the Deadeye, so they managed to get kills out of that, which will go through a transcendence.
They did have 2 of these attempts, so that was their successful Diva Bomb Graviton combo. They missed it on the final point. You have to think, if that Diva comes out a little bit earlier from MG, Shanghai finishes the 3rd point, and maybe we see ourselves go in a different direction. Instead, it's the Shock who takes King's Row. That map locks it up, but really, the Shock on their final push, very impressive stuff coming in from this squad. Sideshow, I know you wanted to take another look at this final play. What do we want?
Yeah, look at the coordination here from the San Francisco Shock. So they know that it's only Roshan's shield that's keeping everybody alive. They throw a Diva Bomb into the back, so he has to turn his shield, and then with his back towards Nomi, the Earth Shatter just ends the whole deal.
Can I just see that again? Can we play it again?
Yeah, we can hook you up. Warren just said, guys, I got you. It's coming one more time. Let's take a look.
Slow motion. Come on, slow motion.
It's all on the left side. Roshan, that shield turns to block the explosion. Perfect combo there with
I love it.
Yeah, perfect combo. Stuff that you can execute in ranked games as well. And it's these kind of ultimate combinations that make King's Row and watching these tanks so great to watch. But it's also, I think, what plays more favorably into Shanghai Dragon's wheelhouse is that when they have big ultimates up and they know that they have to run them in a certain order, that's when they look more coordinated.
Right.
When it comes down to stuff like positioning and focus targets and pairing up, just things that are slightly more intangible, that's where the Shanghai Dragons crumble a little bit.
Yeah, and that's where the new additions come in, because they have been coded in the past for saying that the communication maybe is a bit off, and that's why they brought in new players to give a bit of a new perspective. Are we communicating right in-game? Are we setting up the fights properly? And we can see some communication and teamwork issues here. So with new players coming in during stage 2, we might see some better play.
It was kind of infuriating to watch the Shanghai dives at times, to be honest. If you're the Diva player, go with Roshan. You got to keep this man up. Let's keep it rolling, though, into game number 4, because I said if it goes to Ilios game 5, I want to see the sniper battle. We had all kinds of snipes. Undead for Shanghai. Baby Babe going off for the Shock. Incredible Widowmakers. What was the difference in this game, though? Because both teams succeeding on their attacks. A very close game here on Gibraltar.
Well, I have to say, Dante actually turned up. Baby Bay is very consistent on the Widow, but Dante and his Dragon Blades, he actually had way better stats than Baby Bay throughout Gibraltar, and he had very impressive killing blows, of course, and elimination throughout.
For me, Overwatch is kind of a game of mistakes. If you're going to be making mistakes, that offers opportunity for the other team to get further. And so Shanghai Dragons, pretty coordinated when they're on the attack, but on defense, where one mistake ends up snowballing backwards and you can't really gain your footing again, that's where they started to crumble a little bit. And whereas San Francisco Shock, they got the pairings up, they know what to do on the dive, they were successful in setting Dante up, giving him heals when he needed them, as well as Nomi. So they look more coordinated on the defense.
It's going to be an interesting week for the Shock moving forward. You got Dallas, you got New York coming up in week 3. What do you work on before that matchup against Dallas?
Well, you're going up against Dallas, right? So we know that Dallas has struggled in the past. They rely a lot on AKM Soldier, of course, and also the front line looks a bit disoriented with XQC and Mickey, of course. So maybe look to punish XQC a lot. You have Undead, who plays a fantastic McCree. So be a bit explosive, perhaps, and challenge the front line of Dallas Fuel.
Challenge the front line. I like that call. We got to wrap up this match by crowning our player of the match. Johnny, will you do us the honors here today? Who is it?
We have some amazing signs today, of course. So this one goes out to my buddy. Do you recognize the voice line?
He looks Swedish. I'm going to own all these noobs. It's Nevix. Rarely a trash talker. One of his famous quotes.
Well, he's still Swedish, right?
Player.
We're not famous for our trash talking rights, are we?
You Swedish boys are so nice, always smiling. Nevix, though, was just so brutal to the back line today, taking apart the supports of the Shanghai Dragons, protecting his own with the defense matrix. He was everywhere on the map.
Yeah, and he's so consistent as well, and very coachable. I have played with this guy in the past for Misfits, of course, and what I really like about Nevix is that he's so coachable. Yeah, well, that's one way to do it.
That's just unlucky, isn't it?
He really listens to the coaching staff, and he's so flexible when it comes to being defensive, being aggressive, and that's what you need in the Overwatch League, right?
Good way to finish out the series here. Sorry, these numbers purely from Gibraltar.
Yes, just on Gibraltar, and he's able to put this up. Also, Johnny, he's already in the team. You don't have to sell him. Are you trying to get somebody to pick him up?
Johnny's like, well, you know, Overwatch League could expand eventually. I could put together my all-Swedish juggernaut players.
He tried to do that once. He tried to do that.
It's coming back. It's going to be disappointing.
Too early. It's before its time. Sweden has gotten much better at Overwatch. Let's take a look at our overall standings because this sheet would tell me I'm a liar. You'll notice New York still in the #1 spot. Seoul officially #2, finishing a great week, now at 11-3. But really, it's all about the stage 2. It's this 10 matches per team. Seoul at the top, 4-0. And next week, we got a great opportunity for some movement. We're going to see the battle for LA once again. The Gladiators, you beat the Valiant here, you pass them in the stage 2 standings, and then Sideshow, you got your lips all curled for the second match.
Oh, Philadelphia Fusion against Seoul Dynasty. That one's going to be so good.
I mean, Philadelphia is the best team in the world, right?
Oh, yeah, according to Johnny. The DPS matchup there, that's going to be unreal. What a game.
Johnny, I can't let you leave this building tonight without crowning your official best team in the league for Reddit. Earlier, you said it was Philadelphia Fusion. Then you said London was going to beat them.
Yes.
I don't know what to trust anymore. Where are we going?
I think that Philadelphia Fusion will rack up a lot of wins so far this stage in the league play, of course. But when it comes to playoffs, I got to go with the London Spitfire. They're looking really hot.
London Spitfire is going to be Johnny's pick so far at the end of Stage 2. Remember, this is just week 2 of Stage 2, rather. We still have 3 more weeks to go. And next week, my buddy Golden Boy is going to be filling in. Make sure you join us for all of the action. Week 3 of Stage 2 kicks off Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific. For everyone who tuned in here in the Blizzard Arena, big shout out, much love. And for everyone who watched online, thanks again. We'll see you soon.